What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Lil Mackie Rob, aka Mito. Y'all already know how we doing today, man. Y'all doing good? I'm doing good, man. Hope y'all having a beautiful day, man. On this wonderful Wednesday, February 6th, baby. We're at 5 in the afternoon, man. It's been a decent day. Woke up a little bit late, but it's okay. Yeah, man. Welcome back. If you guys are new here, my name is Lil Mackie Roth, aka Mito, and your boy. I'm just a kind of a reactor. I just react to different videos that I'm interested in. They usually tend to fall into the gaming or the hip hop and pop culture kind of realms. Is kind of where I'm swimming through right now. But yeah, I just kind of react to whatever I want to talk about, and sometimes I'll just kind of just talk shit to talk shit. But yeah, guys, that's me. And so today we're going to be reacting to, it is going to be a video, as we always do. And, what's going on? Oh my God. All right. Today we're actually going to be reacting to another Luesta video here. And it's titled A$AP Rocky's Rocky Road to a 24-year prison sentence. Now, I have heard, oh yeah, this is up here from my last Playboy Cardi video. But I have heard that A$AP Rocky is, he's actually going through a lot of legal battles right now, and I'm actually not entirely sure for what. So actually, before we even start the video, let's get an understanding. Keyboard's dead. Let's get an understanding of what we're looking at here. What is A$AP Rocky? Yeah, you go on trial for. I guess, yeah, we'll see that. The rapper rejected a plea deal and faces trial on 2 counts of felony assault stemming from a 2021 shooting in Hollywood. Matt Stevens reported from a superior court in downtown LA. Excuse me. So he's facing two felony assault charges, it looks like, for a potential shooting. So all right. Niggas on some fucking demon time right here. Yeah, so it seems like that's what he's looking at, and it seems like, according to Luesta here, it's apparently looking like a 24-year prison sentence, which, I mean, it kind of makes sense now I think about it, because it's not just like battery or some shit like that. Like, it's an actual, like, he tried to shoot somebody, or allegedly tried to shoot somebody. So I guess the sentence would kind of make sense here. But yeah, man, that's crazy, man. Because especially since A$AP is always, and trust me, I never took A$AP Rocky to be a bitch, but I never took him to be just like a crash out like that. Like, this nigga, like, he takes his life pretty seriously. You know, not only is he a good artist, but he's a fashion designer. He's got a family with Rihanna. He's got a couple kids and shit, and he really enjoys being a father. So it's definitely interesting that he would even get himself in this predicament, knowing he's got literally two little boys that are babies right now, so shit, man. Let's just get right into it, man.
He has become one of the biggest icons of the modern hip-hop era. From his origins of developing his own Houston-influenced sound that captivated the world, all the way through to his experimental work that pushed the boundaries of music and hip-hop fashion in the years to come. But it wasn't just his professional endeavors that he was winning. In recent years, he carved out a life for himself away from both the recording studio and the runways of the world. Alongside his longtime partner Rihanna, Rocky had 2 young kids and appeared to be the picture of happiness.
Big guy turned 1 today, so
Isn't it crazy how it goes fast, right? And you know this now because it's your second child.
Right? I mean, 2 boys as well. It's just like, it's time speeds up when you become a dad, man. It's crazy.
But he still wasn't.
Man, I will say, since the last video and when we learned about Playboy Cardi kind of being a piece of shit dad, I mean, the nigga, like, not only is the nigga, according to Iggy Azalea, has he been gone and completely, like, away and with no contact with his family for over 6 months. He also missed his son's birth to play PS5, smoke a joint, and record a song with Lil Uzi Vert. So, I mean, it's nice to see that when you got one rapper that's a genuine piece of shit, you got another one that seems to actually he's actually trying to be a good man to his family and a good dude just overall. It's nice to see that, especially in rap, because, man, that Playboy Cardi video, that just pissed me off. And it just, it made me not have too much faith in a lot of these rappers as far as, like, being just genuine good people to society, but it's nice to see that at least you got some people that are like, nah, they do rap, but they still men at the end of the day. They still got responsibilities and they trying to handle it, but apparently not too well if Rocky here was able to get himself in a fucking predicament where he's potentially facing 24 years in jail. So, or prison, sorry. So, fuck, man. Let's see what's going on.
Intent on becoming a stay-at-home dad. He actually had a lot planned. Alongside the fact that he was set to serve as co-chair of the next Met Gala next to Pharrell Williams and LeBron James in May, he also took a starring role in Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest, and of course, released his long-awaited new record, Don't Be Dumb. But now, he might be in a situation where not only will these career moves not take place, but he could even wind up missing his kids grow up. As after a series of legal issues throughout his life, this one might be the instance which really brings everything he's worked so hard to create down around him. It's your boy Luesta, and this is A$AP Rocky's road to a prison sentence. At the moment, Flacco is on trial. Facing a charge of assault with a deadly weapon, Rocky could be looking at serious jail time. However, he's turning down cooperation and refusing to make admissions of guilt.
Our cameras caught A$AP Rocky this morning headed into and leaving an LA court as jury selection began in his felony assault trial.
At every turn, he's refused to publicly acknowledge the case. In fact, he's just been flaunting the lavish lifestyle that he's used to. But now that the trial is officially underway, a recent run-in with the paparazzi hints that he might be unraveling, showing cracks in the composed demeanor he's managed to maintain over the past few months. Struck with the possibility of spending decades behind bars, Rocky and his legal team will have a lot on their mind right now. But while it might be the most severe, this is not Flacco's first issue with the law. Throughout his career, A$AP Rocky has never exactly been known as a tough guy. In fact,
Yeah, I mean, like, I will say, I feel like, I mean, I don't blame him for being super quiet, you know, about the case. I mean, fuck, dude, it's an ongoing case that he's literally facing prison time for. I don't blame him for not wanting to accidentally say some shit that's gonna fucking screw him over and completely kill the case, you know? And you know, these paparazzi, I mean, you can see, I mean, I guess you can call it him unraveling, I guess, quote, heavy quotes. I guess you can call it him unraveling from his composed demeanor or whatever. But still, I mean, I see it's paparazzi. And I mean, if I was a celebrity, I think I'd get quite annoyed with every time I'm like dealing with something like heavy right now. I'm dealing with something personal in my life that can not only affect me, but my entire family's life if this goes down. And I got these nosy ass niggas in my camera talking about, yo, Rocky, did you shoot him? Yo, what gun did you use? You know, I'm not saying that's what they're saying, but sometimes these paparazzi people really just be just no class, bro. They just in there to get their fucking to get their money, and that's it. They don't give a fuck about you. So I don't blame him for being like that with paparazzi, dude.
He's better known as a fashion killer than a real one, but make no mistake, Rocky didn't live a pampered life. Raised in Harlem, a young Rakim Myers' life was turned upside down when his father was incarcerated on drug charges. With little to no money coming in, he and his mother were forced to live in homeless shelters. Just a year later, tragedy struck when his brother Ricky was killed on the very street that they grew up on. Left with no other options, Rocky soon began following in his father's footsteps by dealing drugs on the streets of New York, admitting in an interview that, at like 13, I started selling weed. By 14, 15, I was selling crack in the Bronx. So that was my life for a few years. Although he never went into a great deal of detail about that era of his life, he did admit that he only seized that life when music began to take off. I stopped around Memorial Day. It's been hard, and it got harder last summer. I was kind of broke and had to really be strong because we were really striving to be independent, you know what I mean? But now money is not really a big issue. I'm just focused on life right now. I'm having fun with this music shit in my career. Thankfully for Rocky, he was never jammed up on any charges relating to the days of slinging in the streets. But that's not to say that he didn't serve some time as a juvenile. When Rocky was just 16 years old, he was apprehended for firing a gun at a neighborhood bully in Harlem. As a result, he spent time on the infamous Rikers Island, which is one of the most terrifying prisons in the entirety of the USA.
When I was a minor though, it wasn't when I was an adult, so hopefully it's still off my record. And basically, he was bothering me, you know what I'm saying? And basically went to jail for this shit.
While he was there, he got
Wait, you mean to tell me as a juvenile you went to Rikers Island? Let me hear that again.
In Harlem. As a result, he spent time on the infamous Rikers Island, which is one of the most terrifying music shit in my career. Thankfully for Rocky, he was never jammed up on any charges relating to the days of slinging in the streets. But that's not to say that he didn't serve some time as a juvenile. When Rocky was just 16 years old, he was apprehended for firing a gun at a neighborhood bully in Harlem. As a result, he spent time on the infamous Rikers Island, which is one of the most terrifying prisons in the entirety of the USA.
When I was a minor though, it wasn't when I was an adult, so hopefully it's still off my record. And basically, he was bothering me, you know what I'm saying? And basically went to jail for this shit.
While he was
I don't know. I'm having a hard time believing they send juveniles to a like actual fucking prison, like Rikers. Are you sure? Because he said it was when he said it was when he was a juvenile. Because he was like, well, I was a juvenile, so hopefully it's still off my record, but I go to prison for that. And Luis is claiming he went to Rikers Island for that. Hold on, let me see. When did A$AP Rocky serve time in Rikers Island. In 2006, Myers served 2 weeks in Rikers Island, where he shared a cell with future rapper Casanova. Oh, that's okay. That's wow. That's pretty cool, I guess. Really though? So he spent time so they sent him there as a juvenile for 2 weeks to Rikers Island? At 16? Is that true? For fuck's sake, I guess so. Okay. All right. I mean, it just sounds weird to me. I don't know. I'm honestly, I really don't know about that. Maybe he's telling the truth. I don't know the man's life like that. I just think that's weird. But apparently, it seems like it's I can't think of the word, but it's backed up by other sources at least. So I guess it's confirmed that he did spend at least a couple weeks at Rikers Island at 16. But that's still crazy, if that's the thing. That's wild.
He was there. He got into an altercation that created one of the most pause-worthy interview moments in hip-hop history.
I only had to fight one nigga, got that nigga up out of there, thank God. Yeah, I had to fight some nigga in the bathroom, no homo, we slipping on semen. Niggas was getting off in the bathroom. I got that nigga up out of there, all that shit. This is parts of the...
This nigga's like, what the fuck? I mean, to be honest, and that's real shit. I don't know why you had to expand on the fact that you guys were literally slipping and sliding on semen like it was a fucking slip and slide at a water park. But I mean, that's real shit. Niggas, in jail, the niggas is weird.
The story that I don't like to tell because it don't sound believable.
Yeah, right.
Not only that, what I got to prove by telling niggas I've been on the island, I was in jail, that don't mean nothing to me. That's not what it's about. Right. It's about staying out of there. Exactly. And that's what I meant when I said to y'all, I love y'all, and I get it because I was there too.
And although he did tell the stories in interviews, it was clear that he wasn't proud of it, and that he didn't intend for this to be somewhere he would return.
I'm not a bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy, you know what I'm saying? And that's clear right now, and I'm trying to show and prove. Malcolm X got a second chance, you get what I'm saying? So I never wanted that stigma of anything, you get what I'm saying? I was only 16 years old. Right. We talking about 12 years ago. Everybody make mistakes, you feel what I'm saying?
Especially in our circumstances.
In our circumstances, I was in the Bronx, you feel what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. And I never was a tough, never, ever. Always been this nigga. Never was tough. It's not my suit at all.
And although he escaped unscathed,
hey man, that's real shit though.
He might not have been so lucky if he hadn't found an ally in another budding rapper, drill MC and member of the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation Bloods, Casanova.
A$AP Rocky came through jail. I didn't know this. He FaceTimed me the other day, right? You know who this is? I'm like, yeah, it's A$AP Rocky. Why you doing that to me? Do I know who this is? Yeah. Like, you don't remember me? I'm like, no. He said, remember I was locked up with you? Blase, we was in 5 Lower. You know, Mama G, he said, remember you saved my life when you told me not to sit down? Remember the fights we was having with? I said, you was the nigga with the long hair, the perm? And that was crazy.
He didn't have the perm back.
Yeah, that was nuts. I didn't even know.
Shit. So even Casanova's confirming it. Wow, okay. So damn, bro, that's crazy. They sent him to Rikers Island at 16 years old? Dude, that is insane. Holy fuck. That's crazy.
I was with him at all. So then he was like, yo, anything you need from me, let me know. I'm like, all right, if I need you, I'll let you know. He said, yo, I'll jump on that shit too, let me know. I was like, do what you do. Like, I don't press nobody. You know what I'm saying?
And nobody is charging you nothing.
Nah.
True to his word, Rocky's journey to fame and fortune meant that for the most part, he has stayed on the right side of the law. However, there was one small hiccup when he first entered the mainstream, when he was hit with a grand larceny charge stemming from a run-in with 2 photographers. And in this instance, he pleaded guilty. Back in 2012, he was accused of attacking the 2 men for taking pictures of him while he was yelling at another person. The rapper was also accused of grabbing the camera during the incident. In connection to the altercation, A$AP Rocky also faced counts of attempted robbery in the 2nd degree and assault, but the charges were dropped in exchange for his guilty plea. All he received was 3 days of community service and a $250 fine.
So even though he's sitting there being like, yo, I'm a nice dude, I was never a tough dude. I mean, he still was definitely in the shits, still doing shit. Jesus Christ. It just seems like, it seems like at least what got him out of it was just him being honest about it instead of trying to fight it and go to trial. He was just like, hey, bro, fuck it. Yeah, I'm guilty. I'm guilty as fuck. Yeah, that's me. Fuck, dude. Hey man, shit man, fuck.
Much as it would have gone on his
hey, like I don't know. It's weird to hear these people go like, "Nah, I'm a peaceful dude," and then you got all this shit that you used to do, attacking 2 dudes that were taking pictures. Which I get that. It's definitely the whole idea of the paparazzi to me is so stupid. I fucking hate it. It's so stupid. You got people that literally groups of people who stalk celebrities to grab pictures and grab like sneaky little flicks and sneaky little interviews as they're walking through the streets trying to go to their day-to-day. Like I get that. I would be bothered too. But trying to rob people as a Jeez, man. Like, trying to rob people. According to the complaint, ASAP attempted to grab the camera during a melee, which is where the larceny charge comes from. ASAP was charged with an attempted robbery in the second degree and assault, but the robbery and assault charges were dropped in exchange for his guilty plea. Damn, bro.
Record. It's a minor offense, and one that didn't exactly spell potential problems for Flacco going forward. And for 7 years, Rocky kept himself out of trouble. But in 2019, one fateful trip to Europe would put him behind bars and lead him to become the center of an international debate. First, I gotta tell you guys about today's sponsor.
Honestly, honestly, Rocky seems like a chill dude, but it just seems like he's just got like an attitude problem. It seems like once he's finally like tilted to like past the point where he can control it, he's a crash out. Like a true YN. Into heart.
Rocket Money. Have you ever signed up for something, forgot about it months later, and then realized you've been paying for it this whole time? Well, it's definitely happened to me. I had a couple of subscriptions that I wasn't even using anymore until Rocket Money found them for me. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and even negotiate lower bills so you don't have to deal with customer service. It lays everything out in one easy-to-use dashboard so you can see exactly where your money is going. You can even set personalized budgets and track your spending trends to stay in control. With over 5 million users and $500 million saved in canceled subscriptions, people are saving up to $740 a year with Rocket Money's premium features. So cancel those unwanted subscriptions and start reaching your financial goals today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Lou. That's rocketmoney.com/Lou. I'll drop a link in the description so you can sign up for free. Thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video.
Hey, shit,
now,
fuck it.
Let's get right back
I ain't gonna lie, I could probably use that, bro. I definitely need to learn how to budget my money.
into it.
Rapper ASAP Rocky has been charged with assault in Sweden. The rapper, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, has been held in jail for weeks. But ASAP Rocky says he was acting in self-defense during the incident, which happened while he was in the country on tour.
While on an overseas tour, Rocky got into a physical altercation with a man named Mustafa Jafari. Over the course of the incident, Flacco and his team essentially beat him up, with Rocky claiming self-defense as a result of the guy following them around. And in this new case, this whole thing was captured on video. As dust settled on the fight, Rocky was
bro, he's mid-swing, bro. He's mid-throw. This is some WWE shit. Damn, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, Rocky just seems like he's a cool dude until you tick him off to the point where it's just no good, and he's just crashing out. It just seems like he has a really bad attitude problem.
Arrested and taken to a Swedish prison. There, he felt like he faced discriminatory treatment and that he'd have been released straight away in America. Instead, he would spend weeks alone in a cell with only 1 hour of recreation a day.
We're not going to Sweden for smoke.
I was looking for architecture and furniture design and shit.
Yes.
I was walking around looking.
How does this turn into a case against you?
There was a bunch of factors, bro. Number one, we was in a foreign country. They got their own rules over there. They got their own way of doing things and shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this shit was prejudice, you know, racism, classism, all that shit. You know, that's definitely a factor.
As Flacco remained behind bars...
Wait, what?
For smoke?
I was looking for architecture.
As dust settled on the fight, Rocky was arrested and taken to a Swedish prison. There, he felt like he faced discriminatory treatment and that he'd have been released straight away in America. Instead, he would spend weeks alone in a cell with only 1 hour of recreation a day.
We're not going to Sweden for smoke.
I was looking for architecture and furniture design and shit.
Yes.
I was walking around looking.
How does this turn into a case against you?
There was a bunch of factors, bro. Number one, we was in a foreign country. They got their own rules over there. They got their own way of doing things and shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this shit was prejudice, you know, racism, classism, all that shit. You know, that's definitely a factor.
As Flacco...
I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Argentina, but... I don't know. That sounds like a bit of a weird cope, I guess. Like, yeah, bro. I mean, you fought somebody. Like, fighting somebody even here is illegal. While sure, you might be able to walk away from it because you're ASAP Rocky, and whatever they hit you with, you could probably just bail out of it with the money you have. But in a different country, they don't follow the same rules like other niggas do, you know, like other countries do. And if they take, you know, they a lot of them take their laws and their punishments very seriously. So that's why, like, when you go on tours, or not even tours, but when you go on trips to these other countries, it's best to do some fucking research, bro, because you probably, the amount of, I'm an American, I live here in America, as I'm sure a lot of you do as well. You know that a lot of the shit that we get away with here, or maybe we even get slaps on the wrist here, in other countries, you will not get that same fucking treatment. You will be absolutely jailed for this shit. And yeah, I mean, again, I wasn't there. I can't say whether or not it was racism or classism, but that's where I get confused because, I mean, the racism, sure, we can argue that, but classism? Like, how were they being, like, I guess classist is, I don't know if that's the right word, but how are they being discriminatory towards you because of your wealth? You know, it's not like you were just a poor kid. Like, you're ASAP Rocky, you got hella money. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like a weird argument to have, I guess, or a weird statement to make. But again, I wasn't there. I don't know. It just sounds weird to me that they would be fucking with you because of classism when you are arguably in the top 1% of the world. So
remained behind bars, the story galvanized the community behind him. Speaking after the fact, ASAP Mob member Ferg recalled how he tried to keep his spirits up, even though the entire crew had been left in the dark about what was going on.
A week turned into 2 weeks, turned into 3 weeks to a month. Throughout this whole time and process, I was trying to fly out to Sweden to see him, calling his parents, trying to get them together to go and see what they was doing, but they wouldn't allow us to talk to him.
I just realized this nigga's sitting in a fucking pool of money. This is so fucking extra, bro. Just sit in a chair.
Call him.
You got all this money, you can only afford a kiddie pool from the dollar store that was $20.
Anything, see him, anything. After like, I think a week or so.
Look, I'm not trying to, hey, I'm poor as shit. I can't afford anything that this nigga's wearing or sitting on or whatever. I'm just saying, this is such a weird, this is such a weird flex. Oh yeah, I got all these hundreds in this pool that cost me $20 to, bro, I don't know, just walk around with a fucking money sack at that point, bro.
Some change. They allowed him phone privileges, and Lou put us on the phone. We was happy to talk to each other. First thing he said, he was like, "Man, I miss you. I love you." And shit, I want to get out of here. I was like, "What you been doing?" I said, "You been working out. You been reading?" And he said, "Yeah, I've been reading. I've been watching TV." They gave him like a small TV so he could like see all the news about it and stuff like that. He said, "Yo, they be playing your songs every time the news come on." He's like, "They be playing Work and Shopping and shit."
Activism came in other forms too. It even led Tyler, the Creator, spitting a hilarious freestyle on Funk Flex to bring his friend's plight to the world's attention. And even when he was behind bars, it really cracked Rocky up.
I might fly to Sweden to free him, braid my wig, ASAP tat on my ribs, switch with him, then I can f all the sweet men that I wanna. Actually, I'm gonna eat it up real quick,
That's fucking... Tyler's such a fucking troll, bro. He's so fucking funny. Honestly, I never listened to Tyler growing up, but the more I hear from him nowadays, bro, it makes me kind of be upset at the fact I wasn't really a big fan of him growing up, because this dude's actually fucking hilarious. And he's actually a good rapper too.
Tension. And even when he was behind bars, it really cracked Rocky up.
I might fly to Sweden to free him, braid my wig, ASAP tat on my ribs, switch with him, then I can f all the sweet men that I wanna. Actually, I'm gonna eat it up real quick, motherfucker. I'm LeBron. Me and Flex looking in the index for buff net just for some hot butts.
Oh, dude, that's funny as fuck, bro. I remember that. I remember when they clipped just that last part of that freestyle. Look at Flex's face. He said, "Wow." He said, "Who the fuck? Who's we? Who the fuck is we, nigga? You speaking French, bro?" I gotta hear that one more time. That's hilarious, bro.
Eat it up real quick, motherfucker. I'm LeBron. Me and Flex looking in the index for buff net just for some hot butts.
It's so comedy.
You keep going on, it's crazy.
It's good talking to y'all and shit, man. I really wish I was home. This shit is trash, man.
We do too.
We do too, man.
Miss you a lot.
But the good thing is, coming to America is coming on to in English.
Then, President Trump got involved, and this shocked the artist and his team, as suddenly, his Swedish scuffle had turned into an international incident. Even though it was in Swedish, I heard President Donald Trump and ASAP Rocky, and I woke up out of my sleep, he recalls. I was like, oh fuck. While he depicted his interest in the case as purely for Rocky's welfare, it's reported that Gordon Sondland, the US ambassador to the EU, saw it as a means of political point scoring, telling Trump to let him get sentenced, play the racism card, and give him the ticker tape when he comes home. And no matter the intentions, Rocky feels that the imprisonment becoming a problem for Sweden actively made it worse for him in the short term.
They tweeted, that didn't help you? That hurt you?
Low key, like, that's when they started trying to, like, apply pressure to us and all that, like, and it was, yeah.
Oh, like the police in the jail?
Yeah, the authorities over there.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, they was on some sucker shit. They ain't even let us see the embassy or nothing like that for like 2 weeks, and we ain't get no visits. Solitary confinement, no regular jail cell.
A month on from his initial imprisonment, Rocky was found guilty on the assault charge, but wouldn't serve prison time. Once he was back in the States, Rocky admitted that the whole thing shook him, even if he tried to deflect with a joke or two. After all that happened on Scandinavian soil, a lot of people would be bitter or pledge to never return. But instead, Rocky went back to Sweden to do a show.
Based on the preliminary hearing, I mean, we saw the videos of this. It doesn't, the evidence.
Bro, why would you even go back? If your claim is that the government and the police were like on you and were trying to like fuck you up and they're like not treating you right, why even go back to that fucking place where they're gonna know when you pull up, and they're gonna be looking at you and following you and trying to make sure, then trying to see if they can catch you doing some shit. Why would you go back? Why would you spin the block when it's hot? Like, fucking Rocky, man.
It's pretty stark here. He might have to really work some magic. Joe might to get an acquittal.
So is there video of Rocky shooting Relly?
Allegedly. It is blurry and far enough away that there's going to be some argument about what you're actually seeing.
After the assault in Sweden, it proved that if push came to shove, ASAP's crew wasn't to be messed with. However, what many people didn't realize is that this was due to the emergence of a scar on his face that led him to operate with increased security. For a while, Rocky was rocking a babushka look, and while this deemed fashionable enough for other people to mimic, the origin of it remained a secret, with Flacco even telling fake stories to throw people off the scent. Eventually, GQ sought to demystify what happened. When discussing his new facial imperfection, they said that the tiny one on his left cheek is a result from a fight when he was 15. A spindly tear that stretches from the corner of his mouth to his jawline. Rocky used to hide it under his silk Gucci scarves. Launching a babushka trend is murkier. When asked how he got the scar, he often made up stories like falling off his scooter or being slapped by an auntie with long nails. But in Swedish court, when explaining why he has a security detail, Rocky mentioned that he had been slashed the previous year. Even now, he's cryptic about the incident. I think shit happens, he tells me, and that night, shit happened. Following the slashing, which apparently happened at a party in New York, Rocky got a little more conscious of his well-being, so he clearly doesn't take chances anymore. And if you ask his lawyers, what he's experiencing now is just a byproduct of the need to defend himself. Still, for the most part, Rocky has been on a positive path as of late. And when speaking to New York's OGs like Nori, who witnessed his growth in front of them, they were delighted to see where he was now, but ultimately acknowledged that he had everything to lose.
I'm like a therapist.
I know.
I get right through them. A bottle of Ace, some Hayata, I get to y'all, and I can get through them. And I can tell.
Bro, Jesus. I'm a therapist. Give me a bottle of liquor. I'll solve all your problems. Fucking people, bro. All these old heads, bro. They all the same.
You sincerely are happy. I want to say congratulations to your child on the way. I want to say congratulations
about to be a pop
to your wife to be. I want to say congratulations to your wife to be, because I'm a married man and I believe in that. So I want you to, lock it up.
Sadly, that moment has unfortunately arrived where he's at risk of having everything he's worked for snatched away. And what's crazier is that rather than the incident being as a result of an issue with a random fan or an attacker at a party in New York, he's at risk of missing out on the beautiful life he's made for himself because of a dispute with a former friend. As his current trial got underway, ASAP Rocky pleaded guilty on 2 felony charges of assaulting his former friend Terrell Efron, better known as ASAP Relly, with a semi-automatic firearm. The legal proceedings that he's found himself in now began in July 2022. Back then, Rocky was ambushed as he got off a private plane following a holiday with Rihanna in Barbados. Any peace he found over there would then be shattered the minute that he stepped off that private jet and onto American soil. According to reports, the duo was blindsided by law enforcement at LAX. Met by a grand total of 10 cops, Rocky was placed in handcuffs and taken to the LAPD headquarters for processing. Rocky's arrest came in the wake of a previously unreported shooting in Hollywood. According to the authorities, Flacco and 2 other men, since identified as ASAP 12 and ASAP Ills, were involved in a verbal altercation with a then unnamed individual. After things escalated, Rocky apparently discharged 4 shots. Although the victim escaped with a bullet only grazing his left hand, it's clear that the police weren't taking this incident lightly. Taking place between Selma and Argo Ave in Hollywood, the situation...
I don't know if I believe this whole I'm a nice guy act that Rocky's been pulling, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Dude, there's only so many times where you can claim self-defense in situations before I'm sitting here like, okay, is it really self-defense, or did you do some shit to then result into you now having to defend yourself after some shit you started? Because how many times in this video now, if we heard him say, I'm peaceful, I'm not like that, I'm not a tough dude, I'm not this, that, and the third, and then turn around and he seems like he's actually a fucking menace on the low key. Like, over a verbal altercation, you shoot at your niggas 4 times and graze one of them. That's not self-defense, dog. That's not self-defense at all. That's a crash out, bro. That's a crash out. I think Rocky's low-key just a crash out who understands that he can't just be prideful about it. If he really wants to avoid law enforcement, he has to say the shit that he needs to say. He has to say shit that they want to hear. Is that he's a good dude, he's peaceful, and all that good stuff. This nigga is a street nigga through and through. He might not be a physically tough dude, I guess, but even then, we've got, for as much as he was like, I'm not a tough dude, he said he's gotten into multiple fights in jail with Casanova. Casanova has doubled down and confirmed, yes, they used to get into fights in jail with other people, but they have to fight and defend each other. And then now he's, not only that, he fought a fan who was following them I don't know if maybe the fan could have, I guess, caused some harm, but it didn't even seem like the fan was really trying to cause any harm, especially it's only one dude against a whole group of people. It'd be stupid for somebody to want to do you harm when you're literally surrounded by an entourage, but yet you still go turn around and fight him because you just feel like it, but you're not a tough dude, you're a nice guy. And then now there was a verbal altercation that happened between apparently you, it sounds like, allegedly, and your homeboys. And because of that verbal altercation, just words, you shoot at your homies 4 times and hit one of them or graze one of them in the hand. But yet you're a peaceful nigga. Nah, I think the whole peaceful talk and him claiming that he not tough, bro, that's a smokescreen. This nigga is a crash out through and through. You can't convince me no other way.
Stems back to November of 2021, and an investigation has been ongoing for some time before they swooped in. From there, officers executed a search warrant at his Los Angeles residence shortly after he was detained. After using a battering ram to get inside, police would be seen leaving with possible evidence. It seems that the reason for the police's aggressive tactics at the airport was because they believed they might find the weapon used in the assault on the person and wanted to ensure that neither he nor his team could dispose of it. They even denied Rihanna's request to enter the property to retrieve some of her own possessions. With Rocky apparently taken by surprise by the whole ordeal, it wouldn't be long before the alleged victim would unveil their identity to the public. The man's name is A$AP Relly, a longtime member of the crew who would file a civil suit for assault, battery, and emotional distress against Flacco in addition to the criminal charges. In November of 2023, a preliminary hearing led Relly to open up about the origins of the beef between them, with much of the bad blood stemming from a dispute over the late A$AP Josh's funeral costs, even though Relly had since realized that Rocky actually did pay for the entire funeral. We were just going to link up and talk, he recalled thinking. There was a little bit of tension, so I thought there might be some roughing, but I thought we were going to walk away like brothers. Don't ever forget who introduced you to this life, he added. When I was at my lowest, you looked at me like I was a piece of shit. In the same hearing, Relly suggested that there was a financial side to the beef. When Deputy District Attorney Paul Berzelamick asked how money was distributed within A$AP, he declared, "It's not," testifying that his income now comes from real estate in Costa Rica, private equity deals, and unspecified investments. Even as he denied being jealous of his old friend, Efron admitted that Myers made open-ended promises to support potential business ventures, then never followed through. Efron felt once Myers made it big, he forgot about the group that helped him succeed. Later, after the hearing, Relly took to IG to suggest he was suffering from ongoing mental anguish over what happened. Just because I seem better don't mean I am. I'm still struck by what happened. PTSD ain't no joke. But not everyone was impressed. Rocky's attorney, Joe Tacopina, later responded to his claim in a statement to XXL stating, "The claim is ridiculous, and obviously an excuse for his poor performance on the witness stand yesterday," he responded. "In any event, this is the first time that he's making that claim, which is obviously an attempt to create damages where none exist." While Rocky was free on bail of $550,000 almost immediately, his lawyer then tried to get the case dismissed, but this was unsurprisingly overturned.
We had an argument on motions to dismiss. We were not overly optimistic. The burden was very high for the defense and these things, but we did feel we had some issues regarding limitations on cross-examination during the preliminary hearing. But the judge, I think said correctly, we'll have our chance to continue with vigorous cross-examination during the trial. And we understood the likelihood of success on this motion was slim at this stage. It's just all part of the process. We had to make the motion, obviously, to secure and preserve the record. We did it. We've always been preparing for trial. We know we're going to trial this case, and that's what's going to happen, so we'll be ready for that moment.
At this stage, legal experts weighed in on Rocky's chances of beating the whole thing, and due to the fact that there was once again video footage, they thought it was a tall order for him to completely beat.
Joe's pretty confident that he's going to be able to come up with something here, and that, Relly has a background or a motive here that's going to be exposed. But I mean, just based on the preliminary hearing, we saw the videos of this. The evidence is pretty stark here. He might have to really work some magic, Joe might, to get an acquittal.
As a result, there was no shortage of surprise when, as trial got underway, Rocky rejected a plea deal that would have resulted in 6 months of jail time. Instead, he now faced up to 24 years in prison if convicted. As the news spread, some people felt like he was standing on business.
If there was actual footage, I seen it. Didn't they say there was footage or something like that?
The video that I saw, though,
then that makes me, I don't know, that makes me curious, because every other time he's been in these predicaments, he usually just pleads guilty. But maybe it's because that's when he was a juvenile and a minor and not like a full-blown adult, a grown man with a family. So maybe they do got something. I'm not sure. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at the stories, and as they're being shown to me and what I'm seeing, it just don't really seem like this nigga's all that peaceful, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you,
like shoving back and forth. You can't really make out a lot, but I don't know. There is video.
He must know without a doubt that he's gonna get off because you think about it, they basically gonna give you 180 days, which is still time.
Yeah.
But in LA, they commute everybody's sentence because the jails are overpopulated, right? So most people in LA only do a percentage of the time.
I hope Rocky knows something we don't know.
Yeah.
Because I would have took that deal.
Yeah, I would've took
I'm
that
not
deal.
risking being.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for 6 months, bro. Like, yeah, why not just plead guilty and do the 6 months and get it over with? But unless he's got something in the bag.
Away from Rihanna for 25 years?
However, other sources have suggested that the real reason he has maintained his innocence is to keep his lucrative deals in place. This would effectively end his career because he would lose all of his endorsement contracts, including Gucci, Puma, the Met Gala, and most importantly, he would not be able to tour and his career would be over. But now reporters have speculated that this might have been a misfire, with the prosecutors allegedly advising his family that he should have taken.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it'd be more, well then that's dumb. I feel like you take the guilty deal, and then you do the 6 months, and then that's it. And then you're only behind 6 months versus being behind a potential 24 years. If that's what you're worried about, why not take the plea deal? Sure, you might lose your sponsorships, but I mean, you're ASAP Rocky, bro. And I mean, Gucci and all these fucking all these designer shits and all these designer companies and shit. I mean, they always linking up with the rappers and shit and celebrities and shit. And a lot of these rappers got cases, bro. It's just they gotta let it die down before they give you another shot. Maybe, I don't know how these designer deals work and these sponsorships work. I'm just saying, if you're worried about your money and being put back, a certain amount of time and you're gonna lose on this money, you should take a plea deal and do the 6 months. And it just doesn't make sense to refuse the shorter time and risk the longer time if you're worried about being set back, however long with money wise. I'd rather be set back 6 months money wise than be set back 24 years. I don't know. That's just me.
Taking the easy way out. All of the prospective jurors are out of the courtroom on a break, and one of the prosecutors basically told ASAP Rocky's mom and sister that Rocky should have taken the plea deal. DDA John Lewin mentioned Rocky's career. I just hope that he's evaluating everything. To many, this did seem like a short-sighted move when you could have done a much shorter bid. Insane. You are rich, famous, have a wifey that's worth $1 billion, and young kids. 180 days is the lightest work ever. Crazy gamble.
I saw that ASAP Rocky turned down the plea deal. 3 years probation, turned that down, and he's facing up to 24 years. If I'm Rocky, I would have took that 180 days and sat my ass down, and that would have been the end of that.
Meanwhile, others feel it's due to his certainty and his capacity to beat it. If they're taking 24 years but offer a 6-month plea deal, that means they don't have shit. They just want him to plead out. As the courtroom battle got underway, the prosecutor relayed Relly's versions of events.
He was asleep around 9:00 p.m. when he started receiving a series of urgent messages from not only from Mr. Mayers, but from the 2 other men that were with him, ASAP Hills and ASAP.
And just so you can keep an ear out, Mr. Mayers is ASAP Rocky, the defendant, and Terrell Relly, I can't remember his last name now, is the victim.
And you'll hear that he received a number of calls kind of back to back to back from the 3 of them. Now, he didn't answer those calls because he was sleeping, but when he ultimately woke up, he saw he had a number of missed calls. He also received text messages from Mr. Mayers that were aggressive, seeking a confrontation with him, asking him where he was. Mr. Mayers is on the left side of this conversation. Where are you at? Let's get to it. Stop ducking my calls. The messages that the victim's receiving are instantly aggressive towards him.
They allege that a call occurred when they agreed to meet at the W, and that Relly felt that they were going to have a verbal confrontation that would amend their relationship.
And you can see that Ills is the first one to intervene to try to separate the 2 of them. And then at the very bottom of the screen, you see 12B putting his hand to try to also intervene and help separate.
So this video, in my opinion, you can see their facial features a lot more. And so this is going to be the one they're going to help use to identify who's who, I think, which is why the defense couldn't just say it wasn't me, because of all the security footage. So they had to have a different defense, and we'll see if they can show that there's some truth to that, which again, we'll have to wait and see.
From there, they sought to fill in the blanks of what the cameras couldn't catch.
During that period of time that they are off screen is when the defendant first produces that semi-automatic pistol from his waistband. He pulls it out of his waistband and he's holding it to Mr. Efron. Mr. Efron will tell you that the defendant pointed the gun at his chest and was essentially trying to point the gun around Ills, who was between them. That at the time that he was pointing the gun at Mr. Efron, he was also threatening Mr. Efron. I'm gonna kill you. Keep in mind, these men have known each other for a long time. And Mr. Efron will tell you, in his state of mind, he never believed that he was going to be shot.
But ultimately, they still couldn't really clarify what actually occurred, which is definitely the weakest part of their argument.
You will hear that Mr. Efron was not seriously injured by this shooting. He has these injuries to the middle knuckle of one of his hands. Mr. Efron will tell you that at the time...
Just to my untrained eye, that doesn't look like it was caused by a bullet. I guess it could have been, and we'll maybe hear from that. It definitely looks more like...
Let me
I
finish.
mean, I guess if you punch somebody, you wouldn't. I guess
It's
you could
definitely
scrape
more
meat
of
with a
like
punch, but
it's
more
it
likely,
those look like
if you fell on
scrape
the ground, we
marks.
saw people, multiple
Yeah.
people falling on the ground in the video. You scraped on that. You could have scraped it on anything.
With Relly claiming that the bullet grazed him and led to a burning sensation to his hand, his lawyer even conceded that perhaps those wounds weren't caused by the bullet. But they said that this wasn't what the jury was there to determine, and that because Rocky discharged the gun, he'd still broken the law. Ultimately, the most concrete piece of evidence they have is the surveillance footage.
Oh shit, yeah, right there. That little dude, I'm not gonna lie, bro. This little whatever this is, this little bar right here, this thing is gonna be the fucking thing that saves ASAP if he gets out of this, bro. Cause look how close he was. He has the gun in his hand. He's on camera, but his face doesn't come out from underneath here, so they can't determine if it's truly him or not. This fucking pipe right here is a paid actor, bro. That nigga, this pipe right here is on payroll from Rocky. That ass, bro. Cause look at this. Look, he barely comes out. Look, he comes out just enough where you see somebody put a gun away, but not enough where you see who that person was. That's crazy luck. Yeah, is that ASAP? I don't even know if that is. This camera footage is so garbage.
But there are still blanks to fill in. For example, there is no sound, but they claim that Mr. Myers pointed a gun at Mr. Efron's chest, threatened him, and said, "I'm going to kill you." On the other hand, there's a 911 call that surfaced, which seemed to corroborate the idea that shots were fired.
Hi, I live in the apartment on the corner of Argyle and Selma in Hollywood, and there's been a shooting.
So at 10:18 p.m., LAPD receives this call that there's been a shooting at the intersection of Argyle and Selma. The call continues though.
Did you see? You just heard it? Yeah. No, we watched it. Okay, what did you see? There were 4 men, and they were kind of fighting, and they were walking along Argyle, and then they turned left on Selma, and we were yelling, and they started running, and they turned left into the back lot apartment, or El Centro apartment.
Now, the 4 men that you see on that screen will be the 4 men that we'll talk about in a minute. They were the 4 that were at that location.
But because of how flimsy certain elements of the evidence are, it's led to a dubious view of his case, with many believing that Relly was merely trying to get a bag and it just went a little too far.
I feel like there's a chance that Rocky could really get caught up and do some time.
Now, this is a criminal case or a civil case?
This is, I believe it's criminal,
It's
bro.
criminal now. Yeah. It's criminal now. They filed.
It's criminal, yeah. So this is not. It's not what you want. It's not what you want.
Yo,
So,
man.
And the guy coming after Rocky, what's his name? ASAP something. One of them ASAPs.
I think it's Relly, yeah.
Never heard of him, but he's definitely trying to get some paper. That's coming
of
next.
course.
E-Pro is such a fucking weirdo. Oh yeah, who's this guy? A$AP Relly? I never heard of him, but he's definitely doing it for the cash. You don't even know who the fuck this is, bro. You just picking sides with the nigga you know versus the nigga you don't know. Shut the fuck up.
Of course.
Oh, you got a child with a billionaire?
Pay out.
And you did what? Then what happened? Ow, my hand. Ouch.
My neck.
Yeah,
I need that.
That's not what we want.
They have no gun. They have no proof he shot a real gun. The accuser didn't call the police when going back to the crime scene, and he picked up the evidence himself. The accuser went to the authorities after trying to extort money from the defendant. But that doesn't mean it's smooth sailing for Rocky and his team. The day before the trial commenced, prosecutors dropped the bombshell by revealing a ballistics report that could link the hip-hop star to the gun he's accused of firing at a former friend. They also presented 2 spent shell casings that may have come from the same weapon, adding even more weight to the case against him. This 28-page document hadn't been admitted as evidence before, which meant that lead defense attorney Joe Tacopina was left enraged by its sudden appearance.
I'm trying to go through it. I don't know if I've ever been.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
In my whole career, both as a prosecutor and as a minister, this is not great. It's not fair to me.
But Judge Mark Arnold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that even right? Can they even do something like that? I thought when you're going through like discovery and shit, like you have to, all the evidence you have has to be laid out on the table so the defense knows what they're arguing against. I thought you couldn't. What do you call it? Bring up surprise evidence out of nowhere. I didn't think you could do that.
Arnold didn't agree with this assessment, stating it's not a smoking gun. It doesn't mean that your client is guilty. In terms of Joe's defense of Rocky.
Damn, even the judge is on his side. He's like, bro, it ain't that big of a deal. We don't even know if he's guilty or not. It's just a picture of a bullet, bro. Relax. Damn, okay. Yo, the judge is fair, though. The judge seems like he's a little fair. But hey, wait, is that a thing, though? Let me look that up, because maybe the judge is on some fuck shit. Can you bring surprise evidence in a court case? No, in most legal systems, you cannot bring surprise evidence to court, meaning you cannot introduce evidence during trial that the opposing party was not aware of beforehand due to the mandatory disclosure rules during the discovery phase. This is designed to prevent trial by ambush and ensure a fair trial for both sides. Okay. The American legal system requires litigants to disclose a lot of evidence in the discovery phase. Oh, let me see this. Why you should read this post? Okay, I just want to see. It's like a blog. Oh, I don't care about someone's opinion on it. Okay, so it is technically considered trial by I think it would be considered trial by ambush. Well, that's kind of fucked up then. That's what I was about. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you can bring surprise evidence like that, even if it's just a picture of a bullet though. Like, I know it's not that big of a deal, but I still think even the judge was wrong here, because still, like, yeah, sure, it's a bullet. And it's like, well, it doesn't mean relax. It doesn't mean that your client or that the defendant is guilty. But it's like, yeah, but this is what they're using this. They didn't just bring this up because it was a cool picture. And they're like, hey, judge, you think this picture of this bullet is cool? It's not that. They're using this picture to try to link evidence and link the fact that he had that was his gun and he's the one that discharged it. So I feel like it doesn't matter from how small or how large it is. If it's being used as evidence against the defendant, it should be acknowledged during discovery. And oh shit, that might not be good for Mr. Relly boy there. I think if his lawyers are smart, they definitely remember that happened, and I highly doubt a mistrial motion would be granted because of this, but it is something to definitely keep in mind, because yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you can't do the surprise evidence thing in the middle of a trial. Let me just make sure they said it was in the middle of the trial.
Have come from the same weapon, adding even more weight to the case against him. It's smooth sailing for Rocky and his team. The day before the trial commenced, prosecutors dropped the bombshell by revealing a ballistics report that could link the hip-hop star to the gun he's accused of firing.
Oh, that's how they got around it. They said it was a day before the trial started. Oh, okay. So it was a little sneaky there. Okay, I got you. So technically, they're still revealing all of their evidence, including the picture. It's just, I guess the defense didn't have enough time to try to argue against the bullet claims and shit like that. But okay. So they did a little sneaky. They did it a day before the trial started. So technically, it wouldn't be considered trial by ambush. These fucking lawyers, bro, they are one step ahead, bro. These niggas are sneaky.
A former friend. They also presented 2 spent shell casings that may have come from the same weapon, adding even more weight to the case against him. This 28-page document hadn't been admitted as evidence before, which meant that lead defense attorney Joe Tacopina was left enraged by its sudden appearance.
I'm trying to go through it. I don't know if I've ever been this upset in my whole career, both as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. I got to be honest with you. It's not great. It's not very good.
But Judge Mark Arnold didn't agree with this assessment, stating it's not a smoking gun. It doesn't mean that your client is guilty. In terms of Joe's
Terminal pointed out in his opening that the bullets found in the magazine were labeled Sig Luger, while Relly's shell casings were found Federal Cartridge 9mm Luger brand. Tacopina also said Rocky's tour manager, Lou Levin, will testify that the 9mm magazine in Rocky's home belongs to him. Okay. But yeah, so that's kind of a sneaky way though that they get around it. That they revealed the evidence a day before the trial started. So okay. Still pretty shitty.
Defense of Rocky, he claimed it was a starter pistol he carried as a deterrent, even though it was perfectly legal for Rocky to have a firearm.
Again, I don't understand. He didn't hide a gun, carried a legal gun. He was licensed to carry a gun in this state.
Rocky fired that prop gun, that starter gun, that makes it sound just like a real gun. Tacopina informed the jury. He fired it twice, hoping the sound would be enough to scare off Relly and protect Ills. In addition, the lawyer also read out text from Relly.
That's an interesting defense. Guys, it's not a real gun. He just walks around with a prop gun. Pew! You know, it just makes the noise. He just likes to play with it, guys. Come on. That's an interesting defense.
He seems to be threatening Rocky in the same way that he alleges it was done to him.
Relly told his friend that Rocky was a piece of shit and declared, I'm gonna beat this nigga up. Now, it's funny, they showed you a lot of text messages. I didn't see that one.
Then, there was the small matter of the fact that the shell casing was allegedly acquired by the victim himself.
That he came back to the area an hour later with his girlfriend Lydia Parker, and that while they were there, he quickly found 2 shell casings on Rocky fired right there. Come up, and he found them. And then he videotaped them. An hour later.
So the defense is that they were fake, that Relly, that ASAP Rocky had a fake prop gun, so it wasn't real, and that Relly went back to the site that this shit happened at and just randomly found 2 bullets and decided to use that in a case against Rocky. Is that his defense?
While they were there, he quickly found 2 shell casings.
The victim himself.
That he came back to the area an hour later with his girlfriend.
So you say he came back to the area an hour later.
That while they were there, he quickly found 2 shell casings. And Rocky fired right there, come up, and he found them. And then he videotaped them. An hour later. You will see that story fall apart so hard. Why? Because the evidence will show you that well before Relly returned to the area, 7 police officers, like a SWAT, 7 police officers arrived at that same spot. They responded to the scene and carefully searched every inch of that area. I could not believe what I heard.
In his estimation, the fact that the authorities found nothing made it clear that there was foul play on Relly's part.
Police are searching with flashlights. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 right there right now. There were 7, there's another one here. This is where the alleged tussling was with Relly and Hills. Rocky's here, 12's here. Here's the corner they came around. This is where Relly, since he comes back an hour later and picks it up. And here's a landmark. Look, this is the corner that they all came around, right here. And this is where it all started.
Reportedly, Joe plans to call 2 witnesses during the trial to testify the firearm seen in security footage was a starter pistol. Because of these various holes in the case, it has led some legal experts to suggest that the prosecution doesn't have enough evidence and that the prosecutors are scrambling to find any degree of credibility.
Well, that's where it gets interesting, because his attorney, Joe Tacopina, he argued during this preliminary hearing that there wasn't enough evidence. And one of the things that he said was there was a detective that testified that Rocky was seen on other surveillance footage holding a gun in his hand during the altercation. Tacopina says that's not his client, that this surveillance video allegedly shows an area near this fight. This is different surveillance footage, and there are 2 loud pops that can be heard, but you don't actually see the shooting. What you do see is a man running around the corner, then appears to slow down to a walking pace. The detective says that is ASAP Rocky because they compared that, a still image of the CCTV footage of this guy in a sweatshirt, can't see his face, holding what appears to be a gun, with another image from a video where you see his face, but you don't see the gun. They say it's Rocky. So they're combining these images, and they don't have a clear video of the shooting. They don't have a clear video of ASAP Rocky, firing the gun and doing this, because that would be probably a smoking gun.
ASAP Relly finds the shells in the dark that officers couldn't find. ASAP Relly waited to be treated when he's out of LA and in New York. Prosecution edits parts of the video. Prosecution claims officers couldn't find which spot to search when they were in the same area as Relly. I can't believe this case made it this far. In addition to the relatively thin case from the prosecution, there's also the mounting political pressure being applied to the case over the fact that even though it's held in LA, there are no black jurors. As a result, Reverend Al Sharpton has gotten involved. Out of 106 people called to potentially sit as jurors in ASAP Rocky's trial in Los Angeles, there are only 4 black people. I have been closely in touch with ASAP Rocky's friends, and though I don't know the particulars of the trial, I do know he deserves to be judged fairly by his peers, as is his constitutional right. It's absolutely ridiculous that the jury would not be fair and representative, so as to deprive ASAP Rocky of a fair trial. When we have 4 black people in the city of Los Angeles out of 106, and exactly 0 within the first 30 possible candidates for the jury, something appears to be very wrong with the system. He concluded by confirming that he is monitoring the situation. He expects Rocky to receive fair and representative justice. Interestingly, Rocky is being aided by Al Sharpton, a man that he once said
I will say, keep in mind too, people don't have to go to jury duty. You can easily get out of going to jury duty, bro. 100%. And most of the time, I feel like motherfuckers, they just refuse to go to jury duty. They tell them, oh, I'm too linked into this case, and I can't be fair with this case. So they don't have him show up. So he's still being represented by his peers. He's acting like he doesn't have like a jury, like Rocky doesn't have a jury sitting there on standby. He does. He's just upset that there's only 4 black people there, which I guess I can understand, but that doesn't mean that this is an unfair trial. He's still being judged by his peers. It's just these are the people that were willing to be like, yeah, I can sit through this case and be completely fair about it,
never be when it came to cultural and social issues facing the black community during an interview years back. So every time something happens because I'm black, I gotta stand up? What the fuck am I? Al Sharpton now? I'm ASAP Rocky. I don't want to talk about no fucking Ferguson because I don't live over there. I live in Soho in Beverly Hills. I can't relate. While this interview snippet has resurfaced on social media, it doesn't change the fact that Rocky was a young man when he said it and has since grown a lot. Likewise, he is still entitled to a fair trial, no matter his views. Above all, A$AP Rocky's trial differs from other cases we've seen in hip-hop as of late, particularly due to the distinct lack of sympathy for Relly and the fact that he cooperated.
Unlike the Tory Lanez thing, because we're dealing with men here and not women, with women, obviously, I guess I'm trying to say there's less sympathy for a guy who gets assaulted by another guy, and if he does show up and testify. Every other person who's around the situation, which supposedly is majority guys, they would all be seen as snitches if they showed up to court and told on Rocky. As opposed to the whole Tory thing, you're not seen as a snitch because it's domestic violence, right? You know, like in certain situations, domestic violence, sexual assault, there is no snitching, right? It's just pursuing justice because those things have nothing to do necessarily with the streets. With this is something that somebody could argue, this is some street shit. If Relly shows up and says, yo, he shot me, we're gonna look at Relly and be like, snitch. Right? Even though, has these guys really been like street guys? I keep saying that the majority of black culture is policed by the street culture.
This isn't helped by Rocky's demeanor in court, as in the eyes of fans, he looks saddened by the whole thing more than anything else. He looks real hurt. This is such a betrayal. Nothing but a broke leech. Those text messages reveal that all he cares about is getting money from Rocky. As a result, there's no escape for Relly on social media, with people roasting him for being a rat on every post. Still, even with how the case is playing out so far, there's no denying that Rocky is taking the gamble. Rather than sit down for 180 days, he has opted to fight tooth and nail to prove that he is innocent. Let's just hope that it pays off for him and that the life he built isn't suddenly left in tatters.
Yeah, well, that's because I'm honestly thinking that
dude's hanging out with Lato.
I already reacted to that. Yeah, man, I'm honestly thinking if he's doing that, especially with his history of being okay with pleading guilty to cases that he knows he's guilty for, it makes me feel like he might have something here. He might be able to get out of this, maybe. But yeah, man. That's been the video, man. If you like this kind of content, man, go ahead, man, give me a like, give me a subscribe, or consider giving me a subscribe, man, so you see more of this. Again, I'm actually gonna leave a like on this video. This was from Lou Westa. I'm gonna post the link to this video down below so y'all can go check it out, show this man some love too. And yeah, man, it's been a little Mackie Route, bro, and I will catch y'all later. Peace out.